We talked about the respiratory system and overall what it is and its functions. We also talked about the pulmonary ventilation, internal and external respiration, and the gas transport. Just a review, the pulmonary ventilation is pretty much typical breathing, which is inhaling and exhaling. When you inhale, your lungs swell up. So when you inhale, and your lungs go out. When you exhale, your lungs come back in. So think about blowing up a balloon when you inhale, and then when you exhale, think about letting the air out of the balloon. That's how your lungs would look. Internal respiration has to do with the blood and the cells, and external respiration has to do with the outer environment and the lungs, which would be you inhaling oxygen or O2 from the environment, from the plants in the environment. So in this video, I'll be talking about the respiratory passageways and the order it goes from the nose to the alveoli in the lungs. I'll also be talking about the two different zones, which is the conducting zone and the respiratory zone. And I'll be talking about the upper respiratory tract and the lower respiratory tract. So for the respiratory tubes / passageways, it goes from your nose, your nasal cavity, and your paranasal cavity to the pharynx, the larynx, the trachea, the bronchi with its branches, the lungs, and the alveoli. And this picture right here. So it's the nose, nasal, and paranasal cavity, which is right here. And then you make your way to the pharynx, to the larynx, to the trachea, just right here, to the bronchi with its branches, the lungs, and the alveoli. Right here. So for the conducting zone, the two zones, which are the conducting zone and the respiratory zone. The conducting zone consists of the nose, the pharynx, the larynx, the trachea, the bronchi, and the bronchioles. And it forms a continuous passageway for air to move in and out of the lungs. And then the respiratory zone is found deep inside of the lungs, which is made up of the respiratory bronchioles, the alveolar ducts, and the alveoli. So another question now is being asked was, what would be a landmark point that can mark the separation of the upper respiratory structure and the lower respiratory structure? And I believe that the lower neck would be a good landmark because the upper respiratory stops, I believe. Let me show you guys the picture to get a better understanding. The upper respiratory stops right here at the end of the larynx, and then the lower respiratory tract starts at the trachea, which is here, colored in orange. So I believe the lower neck, or this point right here, would be a landmark to know the separation of the two. So for the upper respiratory tract, it includes the nose, the pharynx, the larynx, and it is outside the chest cavity. So this would be a good landmark right here, where you feel this dip in your neck. And the lower respiratory tract starts below, which is inside of the chest cavity, and it includes the trachea, the lungs, and the bronchial tree. So for the upper respiratory tract, the nasal cavity, its function is to trap dust particles from entering in the body. The sinuses make the skull lighter. The pharynx, it contributes to your speech. It helps to properly pass food and air to their right destinations. So, when you eat food and you accidentally swallow food, or the food goes down your air pipe, the pharynx is supposed to help separate those two from mixing up together and help them go to the right locations. And then the larynx helps with human speech. And for the lower respiratory tract, the trachea is the main airway to the lungs. The lungs provide oxygen to the capillaries and exhaling carbon dioxide out of the body, which is, a part of pulmonary ventilation and internal and external respiration. And the bronchioles create passageways that supply the lungs with air. And lastly, the diaphragm contracts and relaxes to allow airflow. And those play key parts in the lower respiratory tract.